Yeah, good morning, Stephen.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, so previously I have sent you the Wei Dou Shu the 紫微斗数 chart. Have you been able to derive any kind of analysis from this chart?
Yes, I'll go over it with you right now.
Okay, sure,
See
sure.
how we do.
Yeah.
So what I did was I cross-referenced this with books. I didn't do everything out of memory.
Yeah, sure.
And then so I tried to do it so that I don't know this chart or I don't know the person, so that I don't try to fit the chart with the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That afterwards I plugged in the thing, so I think I know who it is.
Okay, okay, all right, all right.
I wrote everything before I googled
Yeah.
the birthday. So I think it's Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah, you are correct. You Steve Jobs. This person is Steve Jobs.
Okay, so I'll just go over the notes that I wrote prior.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Perhaps you can you speak louder? I can't really hear clearly from your.
Oh, how about now?
Yeah. Sure. It's better now.
OK，咁我就睇命宮喺新時就係7殺，
係七殺。
係應該係妙嘅，但係no bad stars， so 喺本書度話 should have lifetime glory and prosperity。
Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
因為係三方四正係冇啲，即係冇啲殺星係咪啊？
Yes. Overall, right. There are not too many negative stars. There is one negative stars in King Yuan, which is a wealth domain, but it is in a bright position. So it is overall still considered rather okay. And if you look at this Tassa, right? Yes, he would be able to achieve great success. Nonetheless, due to the Sapo long, this formation, usually this kind of person will experience a lot of ups and downs in his life.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look back at his life development, there were actually a few times whereby he actually lost control or lost the being fired from his own company, and then he built up his own company again, and he sold off the company and start all over again, stuff like that. That is the characteristics of someone having this sapolong kind of chart formation.
OK，
Yeah.
咁又講翻嗰個財帛宮
係
貪狼。
Yes, correct.
但係如果佢哋即係我喺本書度話，如果喺擎羊喺神時嗰個即係嗰啲無位係 OK 嘅，同埋兼夾喺個財帛宮嗰度係即係代表係佢係會積極揾錢，即係個擎羊唔係差嘅佢呢個。
Yes, because it is at a bright position, so in a way, right, it shows that he's very, in a way, very enthusiastic towards the towards financial achievements in his life. King Yuan usually is very determined, and they are not afraid of obstacles, and usually they are also willing to try something new. For example, throughout Steve Jobs' life, you can observe that various times he launched kind of business or companies that were very avant-garde during his time. For example, Pixel. Pixel was a company that focused on the development of digital kind of elimination. If I'm not wrong, right? And he for example, he also started the iPhone, which was very evolutionary during his time. Yeah. So such are the characteristics of someone having King Yuan within the wealth domain, and at the same time, we can also observe his career domain having Po Guan. Po Guan is also related to breaking away from what has been established or destroying what has been established and starting a new trend. That has been the kind of a major theme within or throughout Steve Jobs' lives also.
Right， 即係 OK， 因為我喺個 career 嗰個都話 high position action or 即係 it's good， 呢個破關 is good because 又冇殺星，
係
冇乜殺星，即係呢個三格都係 OK 嘅。
係啊，都係 OK， 同埋佢事業有個天魁星喺度，都係算係幾靚嘅一個命格嘅一個構造咯。啊，天魁星即係天魁啊，我唔知你哋嗰個 translation， 因為廣東話我哋係讀天魁，跟住 Mandarin 係讀天魁，所以有陣時 translate 嗰陣時 ，anyway you get what I mean right the existence star 啊係天魁係天魁 because in Mandarin we call it 天魁 but in Cantonese we call it 天魁but anyway we will stick it as 天魁星 is okay. So you can see right there's this 天魁星 within his career domain also.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see from your chat? Yes, you can see it also, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 咁就去到 travel 啊，即係因為係呢個係佢喺佢明嗰個對宮就係前宮。就係紫微同埋天賦係咪
？Yes, correct.
然之後天賦咧就可以控制到個陀螺。
係。
That's no idea.
Yeah, that's correct.
所以就減咗個陀螺。
係。
即係 so it's good that 佢出郊外都 OK， 即係好似我睇過佢都係去到印度係咪
？Yes, correct.
Find any new ideas.
Yeah, that's a good analysis. And just to touch on Thiên Fu and Jimei, they are both leadership stars. Jimei is the star of the Lofton kind of Lofton sky, if I may say so. Whereas this Thiên Fu is the leadership star of the Southern sky. Yeah, so both leadership stars are within his birth chart. So I will say, as I have mentioned before, given that whatever stars are found within the travel domain, it forms the it is at the right opposite direction of the life domain. Therefore, it is also able to bring about very auspicious influence towards the to the person. So you can see throughout his life he has been the leader of various famous company, very successful company. That's also the reason why he has in a way he has good leadership skills, but some people say that he's very authoritative. The way he governs is very much like the that of a dictator. Some people mention that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But I believe overall, it's due to the influence of these stars, right opposite of his life domain, the 天賦 and 紫微。
但係應該佢即係我讀嗰啲，佢就天賦就可以減到個
七殺嘅。
紫微嘅 hunger for power.
Yes, 天賦 is overall kind of like a minister star for 紫微. What I meant is it is kind of like in terms of the emperor, in order for the emperor to execute his plan to come up with very wise strategies for governing the nation, he will lead the existence of 天賦 and 天相 and other positive stars such as 天輝、天彗星、天月星、文昌文曲、左輔右弼 etc. So being 紫微 being paired with 天賦 is also very positive kind of chart formation. Yeah.
但係佢呢個姊妹咧就冇咗左父右文
Yes.
文曲文唱都即係唔會 ，is not assisting 呢個姊妹，所以係咪講佢自己創業，即係冇乜人幫佢咧？
When we refer to his chart, we can see that Chasa is at the live domain, and at the opposite domain, the travel domain is having Jimei and Tinfu. And both of them are in a bright position. That's the reason. That's also the reason why he has been fired from his his company. Even though he set up his own company, for example, Apple, he set up Apple. He actually led Apple to a very kind of success that was unprecedented. But he was eventually laid off by the board of directors, if I'm not wrong. So you can see, right, people who are without the favorite or the positive stars will have a tendency to not be supported by his subordinates.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the characteristics. And you are correct to say that, yeah. You are correct to say that. So we can observe. Yeah, that's the reason why he doesn't because he lacked the support from his own followers. Even though he's a very revolutionary type of leader, he's a kind of leader that can come up with very creative ideas on how to launch certain products or services. But he lacks that kind of 天與左富右白文昌文曲 all these existent stars within his chart. That's the reason why most of the time he's not able to receive support from his followers. Yeah.
咁你可唔可以睇？因為佢嗰個 friends 係咪即係朋友啊？
朋友係 friends domain。friends
即係中文嗰個 domain 叫做乜嘢啊？
係天機化祿。
係咁即係因為嗰個即係 the notes dialogue 嘅天機化祿，即係 no support from friends。即係會係以下犯上嘅。
Yes, you are correct. You are correct to say that also. Friends having 天機 is usually one that is especially when it's 落陷. Most of the time, the money he earns will be divided to his perhaps shareholders, all the kind of work associates that he is associated with. Because as I mentioned before, right, 化祿, even though it is a positive stars in terms of wealth, when it is located at your domains that are the external domains, what I meant by external domains are domains that are related to the friends, spouse, children, parents, the travel domains, and he is having this follow within his friends domain, as you can observe. So that in a way will means that 以下犯上 means the subordinates will challenge his authority. On the other hand, it may means that his friends or business associates or the shareholders of the companies will usually be the ones who will divide his wealth, or his earnings will usually be channeled to the directors, to the shareholders of the company. That could be the case. And right in the opposite direction, we can see Tin Learn is being passed with this authority star, which is called Fa Kun, right? So in a way, his friends or his close business associates will also challenge his authority, because it is at the outer domain of the siblings domain. You can understand this idea. So that's how we use the outer domain and the inner domain when it comes to 紫微斗數。
Inner 同 outer 唔係 internal 同 external 係咪
？Yes, you are correct. It's internal and external. Well, what it meant by internal is those domains that are very much within our own control. For example, stars that are within our life domain or self domain, within our karmic mind domain or the containment domain, within our property domain, within our career domain, within our body or health domain, within our wealth domain. These are the internal domains, and usually when positive catalysts such as Hua Lục, Hua Quan, Hua Fo, falling into all these internal domains, it will bring about positive influences to our own life. Vice versa, as conversely speaking, when the external domains are pairing with positive stars, then the positive energies will be channeled to all these people. For example, the external domains are the siblings domain, the parents domain, the travel domain, the friends domain, the children's domain and spouse domain. So this is how we go about analyzing whether the positive energies are channeling to ourselves or to the people around within our lives.
如果係個 external 咁嗰啲 catalyst 係影響佢哋，唔係影響我哋啊。
係好似話打個for example，好似而家Steve Jobs 佢個 friends domain 係化祿係去咗佢個 friends domain 係咪 ？Based on his year of birth， 天機係化祿嘅 ，am I right？
係。
咁佢個 characteristic 就係佢可能賺嘅錢有好大部分嘅錢都係會分咗俾佢嘅 shareholders， 佢個 business associates 或者suppliers。Or any kind of people who who have the power to divide his wealth or who has the potential to divide his wealth. Most of his wealth will be channeled to these people. For example, Steve Jobs, after getting very rich, right, after launching the iPhone, for example, he also passed away and would not be able to enjoy his wealth due to his rather short lifespan. And then his wealth is being channeled, for example, to other business associates, business partners, for example. Ultimately, although he fought very hard to become the kind of like the founder of iPhone, ultimately, other people took over his position. Tim Cook took over to be the next leader of the company. So this kind of track formation usually means that his wealth will not be able to enjoy by himself. He will be able to build up a successful company, but the wealth that comes from the company will not be able to enjoy it by his own self. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 即係千葉財帛同埋 career， 咁就講到我就唔識得睇 children 咧，即係巨門有左輔天馬，咁即係話佢同佢啲仔女係冇乜緣分嘅。
係啊，可以咁講㗎。巨門太陽其實係有一啲代表有少少刑剋性嘅，通常太陽都係帶少少嘅刑剋，尤其是你睇到佢嘅子女宮嘅對宮係一粒天哭嘅星㗎，可以代表佢同佢嘅children 同佢嘅關係唔會話係非常之close 咁樣嘅解釋，同埋亦都會好多拗撬啊嚇！sorry 係天哭係啱。天哭because I believe within your English chart, right, they translate the pronunciation of the star. So it is actually the star crying, the heavenly or what I call sky crying star, 天哭星。
Okay.
Yeah. So
即係你睇子女宮，你睇一定要睇對宮嘅。
係啊，因為永遠我哋喺紫微斗數裏面都要睇個三方四正嘅一個關係。Means the adjacent domains and the opposite domains. All these domains have to be taken into consideration when we analyze any one of the domains within the birth chart.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see this sky crying star, which is called Tin Hook within his this property domain. In a way, property domain also reflects the situations related to our family.
OK，即係佢太陽係落後嘅啫。
Yes.
通常係話佢係咪有冇即係有佢啲父母有冇留家產俾佢嘅？
太陽落陷嘅時候咧，第一係代表佢同佢嘅家人嘅關係唔會話非常温暖嘅。There'll be this includes his relationship with his parents, with his spouse, and with his children also. So additionally, right, 巨門 is right at the children's domain. Having 巨門, usually it will also means having children that may not be how do I put that? For example, he may have children that is born out of not born out of web knot, means perhaps he will have children before getting married, or having a kind of complicated relationship with the children in terms of the official 所以咧有啲人佢同個仔女嗰個關係係點樣講啊？唔係嗰種好，可能佢哋係唔温暖係第一件事，第二種事係可能叫偷生嗰種，即係佢哋可能未結婚，跟住就生咗個仔或者個女出嚟，而嗰個女嗰個仔嗰個出生嗰個名分可能係同個爸爸嘅關係複雜㗎，可能佢哋冇一個 official 嘅一個 relationship，即係話好似如果你結咗婚至生個細路仔出嚟，咁你有個 official relationship 嘛，係咪 ？recognized by the government。Whereas 巨門 because it's a dark star， 咁咧the children may not have an official father and child relationship that is recognized by the government. Yeah, that's one of the situations related to 巨門 at the children's domain.
咁巨門自化祿咧？
你睇到係自化祿係咪？你個命盤係睇到佢自化祿，係自化祿嘅。咁代表個仔女本身佢都係會得到一啲遺產。will be able to inherit certain wealth from the parents. Yeah. So this structure is basically quite obvious, right? I mean, when you analyze all the different domains, it's quite easy to identify who this person is. Am I right to say that?
Not really. 如果我冇擺佢，如果我冇擺個。
But after knowing this chart belongs to Steve's job, you kind of the domains make sense. It's very coherent to his life development. Am I right to say that?
哇！我都係每一個宮位我都係即係 I have to look at the books and see what they mean.
I see.
我先寫啲讀書嘅。
Oh, okay.
我可以話，我都未可以話復現翻出嚟咁。
I see. But anyway, you are on the right track. I believe you are getting the hang of how to go about step by step to decode the entire 紫微斗數 chart.
OK， 咁即係仲有 OK 個 health 咧就係太陰，
係
化忌添。咁即係我就寫個 note 就話係唔係即係有啲 hidden ailment， 即係有啲暗病嘅。
Yes, correct. It is a sign of hidden illness, and also, if I'm not wrong, within your chart you can also see this Fage, the negativity enhances catalyst within the health domain. Yeah, correct. That's the reason. 係六傳。 Usually having 六傳 at the health domain, uh, you may means that the person will be able to enjoy certain level of wealth in his life. Nonetheless, he still having 太陰 pairing with 化忌. So in terms of health, you also uh, can observe that he passed away due to, was it prostate cancer that he passed away from?
好似係 plus or pancreas 我唔知道係 T 字頭嘅我唔知啊。
Yeah, it's something related to some. It's very much like a kind of illness that is not obvious to the eyes in the eyes of other people.
Yeah, the sun, right? Sun
Yes,
cancer.
correct. Yeah, and he also passed away due to illness. Most people who have Fage within the health domain will pass away due to illness early in life. So that is another point that is very coherent with his birth chart. And in a way, right? Yeah. You may go ahead first.
冇，即係我就話，即係見到呢啲即係唔樂觀嘅情況，你點可唔可以解救嘅？即係可唔可以改運？
In terms of feng shui, there are actually methods to overcome all these negative energy. Nonetheless, you really have to go into the decade trend, the yearly trend to find out where are the positions of the negative stars. Then subsequently carry out certain modification in terms of house feng shui. That can it can solve eventually, but really depends on what are the stars combination, what are the catalysts that are present to be able to come up with the appropriate type of intervention.
但係佢哋就即係我以我讀啲書，即係好基本嘅啫。但係佢哋就話即係八字就睇下你係有乜嘢命運，之後風水咧就睇下可唔可以點樣可以改運。但係咧風水只可以係佔到2成嘅 percent，20%。
I agree. Feng Shui is not a kind of panacea. It's not a fixed or kind of a solution. Ultimately, it will still depend on a lot of karma. 因為in terms of astrology, we believe 一命二運三風水，四精入得五讀書，六名七上八敬神，九交貴人，十養生。So, in terms of English, it means that what influences our destiny is first our destiny, our birth chart. Secondly, is the decade trend. Thirdly, is feng shui. Fourthly, is the karmic influences or the karma that we have. Fifthly is having knowledge. Six is your the way you appear to the world, like kind of in terms of how you behave, how you relate to other people. 六名七相六名your names also. Six is your name. Seven is your kind of the way you appear to other people. Eight is the help of the deities. For example, whether you have spiritual cultivation, you have any religious beliefs, all right, all this will also influence your destiny. So the 9 is your social network. And 10 is whether you take care of your body health. So all these factors comes into play in terms of influencing our destiny. But feng shui and karma, right? I will say actually they are of the same level. But of course, there are a lot of people who have done a lot of I will say they may not have cultivated very positive karma, but they are able to use feng shui to as a form of boosting a method. But ultimately, you cannot run away from karma. So, so what I suggest is right to cultivate both karma and to use feng shui together. Then it will bring about the most positive effects or influence to one's life. And to be honest, right, in terms of modern context, feng shui is not something that you can really change drastically due to. Firstly, I will honestly say, right, if you have certain form of life destiny chart or born with certain form of uh, chart formation, it will also influence you in terms of the choosing of your own house. So, for example, your property domain is born with very negative stars within your birth chart. Then it will also translate to the fact that you will not be able to find a positive house or have positive feng shui within your life. So it's all interrelated. So I will say, right, to yeah, I believe I mentioned this before, right? Yeah, anyway, so I believe, right, both the cultivation of positive karma together with feng shui, that is the best way to change one's life. You get what I mean? Yeah.
我知我明你講乜嘢，但係即係係咪
Mm.
即係信係
Yeah, I agree. Feng shui is only able to affect us about, I will say, 20 to 30%, to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I read. It's like,
Yeah, that's true, because when it comes to our life, right, I also mentioned the decade trend will influence us. In actual fact, the decade trend actually refers to our thoughts and behavior. So in a way, if you are able to change your thoughts and behavior, you will also be able to change your destiny. Both in 八字 and 紫微斗数, yeah. Yeah, both in 紫微斗数 and 八字, the decade trend actually is very much reflecting our thoughts and behavior and our personal choices. Therefore, if you are able to open your birth chart and see, right, within certain decade trends or Taiwan, you have certain tendency to behave, for example, in a negative manner, and subsequently you make changes to your thoughts and behavior to allow yourself to behave more positively, then of course it will bring about more positive influence to your life. That's the reason why we go about decoding our own birth chart. Is really to serve as a guide to let us know what is a good choice, what is a bad choice, so that we will behave accordingly to make right choices during those critical periods. For example, you know that during certain decade trend or yearly trend, you know that you may have a very unstable relationship with your spouse, or you may quarrel with your spouse, both of you may have misunderstanding, then you may make an effort to avoid all these problems by minimizing the chances of disputes or conflicts, correcting your own self, um, try to be more loving and understanding, and try to compromise on different issues in life with your spouse, then it may bring about a more positive outcome. That's the purpose. That's the very purpose of why we go about decoding our own birth chart. Of course, you can also use other feng shui methods, which will be also helpful if applied correctly. And ultimately, our thoughts and behaviors are also related to our karma, because our karmic mind domain or the containment domain is also the domain that reflects the level of positive or negative karma that we have within our destiny. So they are all interrelated and intertwined. So that's why all these methods should be used together as a short summary. Okay. Yeah.
咁好 OK，咁睇翻呢個福德宮係武曲同
Yeah.
天刑 ，right？
武曲係武曲貪狼啊，武曲天刑啱，武曲天啊係喺福德宮係一個天刑同埋武曲。
OK，咁我就寫呢個人咧就中意享受，即係中意material possess， 即係物質上中意即係賺錢揾錢，即係令到佢開心啊。
係，同埋佢都係帶住一個he brought with him the great potential to achieve great wealth, having this Mokok within his containment domain, or what I usually like to call the karmic mind domain because it reflects our karma a lot. So Mokok Mokok is a wealth star. So that's the reason why he's also able to achieve great wealth within his life.
咁如果喺武曲喺佢個財帛入面，德宮，
yeah.
係咪即係佢不中意不斷咁運，中意運錢，定係會令即係 What does it mean by 武曲喺福德宮？
武曲喺福德宮，因為福德宮係喺財帛宮嘅對面嘛，係咪？你記唔記得嗰個三方四正？係。So the Mokok at the福德宮 right is actually having a positive kind of connection with the wealth domain. 武曲貪狼係代表係usually he will someone having 武曲貪狼 is usually able to achieve great wealth after the age of 30s. 武曲貪狼不發少年時 there's an ancient saying. So you may take note of this. Usually, if you find 武曲and貪狼 within the life domain or the wealth domain, plus the karmic mind domain, usually that person will be able to achieve great wealth after the age of 30 years old. But usually their childhood is full of obstacles. Usually they will encounter a lot of problems or issues before the age of 30s. And to add on, can you identify this thing called 身宮 within your English this 紫微斗數 app? 身宮 is the body domain. Yeah. Yeah, you're able to find this 身宮, right? Yeah. Yes, correct. So, right, just to also introduce you to the concept of 身宮, which in English is called the body domain. The body domain is the area. The body domain reflects the area of life which we care most about, and also reflects the destiny trend or the development that we have after the age of usually 35 or 40. Yeah, so this is another what I call the 13th domain, because for most beginners they will only be able to see the 12 domains within 紫微斗數, but actually there's a 13th domain which is the body domain that actually reflects the development of our life after the age of usually 40. So right, him having Mokok within the karmic mind domain, right? First of all, it means that he's someone who is very interested in mental or spiritual cultivation or religious kind of practices. If you look back at his own life, he actually traveled to India to study Zen, right? These are Buddhist doctrines or philosophy. Yes, it means that he's very he cares a lot about religious cultivation or spiritual cultivation, or will be someone who is interested in philosophy, like ancient philosophy.
係咪因為武曲係一個孤獨星嚟嘅？
武曲係㗎，係一個孤黑嘅星嚟嘅。佢通常係點樣講？同六親嘅關係都唔會話非常之好嘅。佢同六親嘅關係通常都係代表同六親嘅緣分好薄咁解。係，同埋武曲係通常比較我行我素嘅。咁佢如果係喺佢個 karmic mind domain，就代表佢個人係佢都係我行我素一個人咯，即係佢係點樣講啊？佢嘅諗法、佢嘅行為都係比較獨特，佢唔會理點樣人哋點樣睇嘅，佢覺得呢件事係啱嘅，佢就會去做咁樣解咯。武曲嗰個 characteristics 係咁樣嘅。係。
咁就講埋佢個夫妻宮。
夫妻宮好好好。係
廉貞同埋天相。
廉貞 係廉貞天上加破軍對地劫係廉貞天上地劫。咁廉貞佢係落陷噶嘛，係咪？is in a dark position. Yeah, correct.
係。
Yeah.
但係天上
係廟旺嘅係。So 天上 right usually means doubling of the energy. So people who have 天上 within the spouse domain, it also usually reflects a situation whereby they will have more than one serious relationship. So so 天上 is also usually we indicates that that person may marry someone whom he have known a long time. For example, that person can be his classmates or childhood friend or some kind of old friend. Okay, 廉貞 usually means complication. Therefore, throughout Steve Jobs' life, he also have various serious long-term relationship, and his love life can be considered complicated likewise. Yeah, and right opposite of 破軍, the 破軍 also influence his spouse domain, having this 大號咸池. 咸池, you know the meaning of 咸池, right? It is a peach blossom star. That's more related to physical kind of intimacy. So I will say, in a way, he's kind of his relationship with various opposite gender could also be rather complicated. His relationship involving various other female members could be complicated, and even this dihole means that his well will also be drained due to members of the opposite gender. For example, they may fight for his saving his inheritance, etc. All this could happen to someone who have such a chart characteristics. Okay? Yeah. Oh, so it may actually means throughout your life you may have more than one serious relationship. When I meant by serious relationship, it may means that it is a kind of like you kind of recognize that person as your spouse already. But in terms of modern context, of course, the marriage could be a very vague kind of concept. Some people choose to stay together to cohabit without getting married. Some people can marry, but they don't have love within their marriage, for etc. In modern context, it's kind of complicated. Yeah. Yeah, because in modern time, right, you know, people have a very different approach to marriage. Like nowadays, it's very acceptable to cohabit, you know, even without getting married, which was very much not something that ancient society will accept. But now it's very common. Am I right to say that? Yeah. So.
What I find that the time that I speak with you, I learn a lot more than just reading through those books.
Yes, that's why I encourage you to ask me questions. Because through kind of conversation, you'll be able to understand deeper, and will be able to have your doubts cleared more easily. Because through interaction like this kind of session, you'll be able to know what is more important and what is of less significant in terms of the influence. Because 紫微斗數 involved a lot of components. You have the heavenly stems, the early branches, you have the stars, you have the major stars, the minor stars, you have the catalysts. You also have the need to take into consideration what are the stars appearing in the adjacent domains. So there are really a lot of information within the 紫微斗數 chart, and you really have to discern what is of more importance and what is of less influence to your analysis. Yeah, so do feel free to ask me anything if you have any questions.
咁即係咁你有冇嗰啲 what would be your next set of notes?
Sure. Okay, I will try to find a good set of notes for you in terms of perhaps what for now, right? Are you more confident in terms of the major stars and the minor stars characteristics already? Are you very familiar with this the stars characteristics already?
Well, I would probably say 40 to 50%.
40 to 50%, sure. Then in that,
well, I can't just 住咗你話哦，點星喺前面講有乜嘢代表 then I can just say
sure.
皮毛嘅時候
Sure.
就話哦，通常點星係一個可以講係一個 artistic or it could be 一個 professing, right?
Yes, you are correct.
Would it mean that and it's a moving one so 咁喺連星喺千二咁即係可以話或者你出交外交會見到人啊 or it could be complicated.
Yes, you are correct. Depending on the brightness of the star and what the star 廉征 is being paired with, it will give rise to different circumstances. So what I advise is that I will send you study materials that will further strengthen your knowledge related to the star's characteristics. Will that be good?
Okay.
Yeah.
但係 probably the next step would be to 即係 put together 個 decade layer, right? The decade layer.
Or decades later, sure, we can also touch on that.
同埋我而家就開始就讀緊一本嗰個飛星嘅。咁個飛星係咪每一個宮位都可以係飛嘅？即係每一個宮位。
The flying star will be able to fall into any domains within the 紫微斗數 birth chart. Ultimately, you have to analyze the heavenly stems within a specific domains to see where the stars are flying into from the heavenly stem. I will slowly touch on this as we proceed because the flying star system can be very confusing. It involves like something like 離心力化技或者向心力化技 means the stars can fly outward or it will fly inward and it all means different things and it will be very confusing if you have not kind of built up your foundation knowledge. So I will slowly introduce you to the concepts related to the flying stars also, perhaps in the coming months. Yeah, because flying star is very complicated, and if you observe the flying star, taking decade trends and yearly trends into considerations, also it will be super confusing because you have the original chart flying stars, you have the decade trends flying stars, and also the yearly trends flying stars. All of them will be overlapping each other. Of course, if you are able to analyze them holistically, it will also reveal to you a lot of information. But at this level, it will cause you a lot of confusion. Currently, if you are having you are still just being introduced to the characteristics of the major stars. Okay, but don't worry, I will touch on that in the future.
咁你覺得 OK？你覺得八字準啲定係紫微斗數準啲？
兩樣都準 ，it depends on the practitioner。其實八字係比較快嘅，即係好明顯，因為你睇一個八字嘅一個命盤嘅時候咧，佢係個 major trend 已經打晒出嚟， 同時睇個本命盤同埋大運個盤嘅時候咧，你係好快可以講到好多嘢出嚟㗎啦。但係係點樣講咧？八字係比較 overview，係一個 helicopter view。紫微斗數咧，你需要慢慢排盤，跟住慢慢睇每一粒星，跟住又有配上其咩星，配上咩飛星，跟住喺咩宮位又代表唔同。紫微斗數比較仔細咯，我可以講。但係八字都可以好仔細，就係要睇你個人個功夫係點樣咯。即係話你個問題有啲好似係有個人問太極拳好啲定係詠春好啲？咁其實到最後兩樣嘢都係好，只係話佢哋嘅 focus 唔一樣，同埋要睇最後係睇個 practitioner 佢自己嘅功夫係有幾深咁樣解咯。但係兩樣都準，我兩樣都好中意其實。But in terms of to be honest, right? To be extremely honest, learning 八字first, right? Learning 八字 first will be more recommended because it is able to build up your foundation. Because ultimately, right? In 紫微斗數, it actually informs a lot of heavenly stems and earthly branches relationship also. So you get what I mean. And if you can learn both, right, will be the best. Then you'll be able to cross-check both. If you are able to use both, right, the accuracy will be, I will say about 95% already. 90 to 95% already if you learn both. But the other 5% will ultimately depends on your feng shui, depends on your karma, depends on the person's the interaction. I mean the social relationships that you have, depending on your own personal choices also. That will be the rest of the 5 to 10% that will change your life. Yep.
但係我唔識睇中文，係咪已經輸蝕咗一？
係啊。It is still best to study them in Chinese, to be honest, because that's where the gist, the essence is especially right. If you really want to excel in 八字 or 紫微斗數, you really have to learn the ancient text. The ancient texts usually would able to enhance your knowledge and bring you to another level of understanding. But when it comes to translation, usually because English is a very technical language, whereby Chinese is a very pictorial language. So some of the translation from Chinese to English may not be very, may not be able to translate the gist of the message, the core meaning of the message. And most of the ancient texts in 八字, for example, they use kind of poem, they write that kind of teachings in poems form. So when they translate to English, it's kind of not able to capture the full meaning of the text or the meaning of the text. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's still best to study them in Chinese if it is possible. If not, try to get the translation that is as accurate as possible.
我呢個年紀就學唔到㗎啦，而家啲中文。
慢慢啦，如果你可以或者慢慢一個一個字咁樣 translate 咯，但係會好慢咯，但係 to be honest，
非常慢。
Yeah. But it is still best, yeah. And to be honest, I don't find a lot of English translated text in the market for 八字 learning or 紫微斗數 learning.
即係 I think the books that I had 已經係最普遍嘅 Joey App 嗰個。
係咯 ，Joey App 有好多OK 嘅，都可以讀嘅，Joey App 都可以讀嘅。Yeah. So so it is a lifelong learning. You have to keep this in mind. The learning of 八字 and 紫微斗數 is a lifelong learning. It will take time for you to digest. It's not like something that you can attend a course for perhaps 4 sessions or 6 sessions, then immediately you'll be able to understand everything. Sometimes you really, even for myself, right? Until today, I'm still learning, and I also go through the same process. Sometimes I had to read the text time and again. After a week, I go back and read it again, and I will be able to come up with different meanings of the text. Even you really can't. You read. What I'm trying to say is that you cannot stop learning. You have to keep on learning and keep on revising the basics. That will help you to build up a very good foundation. A good foundation is very important in terms of the learning of astrology. So I also encourage you to always revise, familiarize. Even if you can memorize, that will be the best. For example, memorize when the stars falls into which domain, what is the meaning, or what kind of chart formation will give rise to what kind of characteristics or personality of situations in life. To be able to memorize all this will be able to bring your analytical skills to a higher level.
即係我 OK 個 the one that I normally have trouble with 係廉貞天相
Yep.
天梁呢啲，即係唔係咁 intuitive, right?
Yeah, they are not intuitive. Yeah, each star actually has their own special or unique characteristics, which is not intuitive to remember. Whereas 八字 is very intuitive. For example, you only have the 10 heavenly signs and the 12 earthly branches. 甲月丙丁戊己庚辛壬癸 is all representing certain kind of natural phenomena. For example, 甲木 represents growth. 甲木乙木 represents growth, right? 丙火丁火 represents the emitting of energy. Whereas water element, for example, represents flexibility and creativity and wisdom. Whereas earth elemental energy represents stability, reliability, but also represents rigidity. Whereas 甲乙丙丁戊己庚 metal energy represents revolution, represents discipline, represents sound and music. So it's very intuitive. 八字 is more intuitive. And yeah, so depending on your preference. I personally love both because 八字 is very intuitive. Just by looking at the birth chart, you can straight away tell a lot of things. Perhaps the personality of the person, the amount of wealth the person will enjoy, the kind of spousal relationship, marital relationship, or even the family background. You'll be able to, just tell within a split second a lot of information just looking at the 八字 chart, because 八字 chart is very much like a helicopter view. But in terms of 紫微斗数, you will be able to tell very fast also if you memorize the characteristics of the stars, the characteristics of the catalysts, and also what domains represent what. For example, I mentioned, right, the domains can further be if you analyze deeper. For example, the wealth domain represents the spouse domains of the spouse domain. The property or the siblings domain represents the wealth domain of the property domain. The wealth domain also represents the health domain of the parents domain, etc. All these further or deeper level of the meanings of the domains can also tell you a lot of things after you have memorized them. But I tell you there are 144 kind of deeper kind of meanings in terms of the the sub or sub levels of the meaning of the domain. So there are really kind of infinite amounts of things to memorize in terms of 紫微斗數. So it's not that straightforward. Yeah, it's more tedious.
好似八字咁，
Yeah.
我個 my day master is 己同埋己卯 right?
Yeah.
So
You mean in terms of your own chart?
Yes.
Okay, let me open your chart. Just give me a moment.
係己卯，即係 住七殺星啦。
Just a moment. Okay. You are referring to the chart 幾貌 is it?
Yes。
係見到幾貌冇幾。
Right.
You're referring to the
Day Master 即係
字貌係咪啊？因為地支嗰個係讀字貌係咪？你哋講緊？
係。
OK， 你個字嗰個宮位係喺福德宮係咪？
嚇？你講緊咩？我講緊八字嘅。
哦，你講緊八字 ，OK。I'm looking at your 紫微斗數 chart. You just give me a moment. I will open your 紫微斗數。I mean, I will open your 八字 chart and take a look. Alright, so within your 八字 chart, you have these
幾卯咯。
係幾卯？你個日元係己土，咁你嘅 spouse domain 係呢個卯啦，啱。
七殺啦，係。
係啊，係七煞嚟㗎。你個夫妻宮喺八字嚟講係七煞嚟㗎。
係，我知。
係。
即係你話有好多嘢睇，但係以我嚟睇 ，it's just 即係話 it's 即係八字嚟講呢個格局係最唔好嘅啦，係。
未必唔好嘅，但係咧點解我話好快可以睇到咧？因為你係一個新約嘅己土係咪？你明唔明白呢件事？因為你喺庚申月出世，係 you are weekday master of 己鴨啦，己土。So in terms of 己土，如果你係新約嘅話，你最需要嘅係咩？係印星，即係話好似丙丁火咁樣，火嘅元素係新土噶嘛，啱唔啱？
但係我係一個火都冇。
係啊，咁所以咧，呢一個夫妻宮嘅七煞對你嚟講，咪係一個壓力嚟嘅咯，明唔明？
因為係冇火嚟射到個七煞。
係啊，因為七煞係一直佢係你個 pressure 嚟噶嘛，因為呢個卯木係生喺你個己土上面，但係你又冇火去通關，冇火去通關，即係話咧，如果你有火，你有丙丁火嘅話咧，或者有呢啲子火或者午火嘅話，咁木就可以生火啊嘛。官能生印或者煞能生印，咁就可以殺印相生。殺印相生 means your seven killings or your direct officer able to channel the energy towards the fire, and then fire will subsequently channel to enhance your day master's strength.
Right.
Yeah.
但係我呢個大運應該係冇又係冇火㗎。
係啊，所以就要睇下月份咯，或者你出生嘅地方，或者你嘅風水會唔會多啲火，咁就可以 channel away the kind of pressure or the kind of negative energy for a weekday master of that's emitted from the seven killing 但係 straight away from your birth chart, you are able to tell 七煞 is at your spouse domain. And for a weekday master, 七煞 the seven killing is not an auspicious element. Right?
係 the worst.
Yeah, can be considered negative, I would say. But of course, ultimately, it will still depends on the major destiny trend. For example, if a certain month or day you are able to have the 戌卯戌合化火嘛 right? 戌 and 卯 is able to combine to form a fire combination formation, whereas 寅 and 卯 is able to form a wood combination formation, which can also enhance fire elemental energy. So you can actually find a spouse who have 戌 within the spouse domain, or having 寅 within her birth chart, for example. That will actually improve the situation. So that's why I say ultimately it will still depends on your personal choices. That will actually create a different outcome in your destiny. You get what I mean? Yeah. So that's the reason why we go about decoding chart. That will give us a better chance to find a more compatible partner, more compatible business associates, more suitable work or career choices, or feng shui environment, all this will able to benefit our own life. Okay?
咁要揾一個有人喺個邊一個工位啊？喺邊個 pillar 咧？
你其實坦白嚟講，it can fall into any early branches. But best, of course, will be at the spouse domain. The combining kind of early branches best to fall within the spouse domain, because it means that in terms of spousal relationship, you and your spouse would have a more harmonious relationship in terms of 八字 reading.
即係要個人即係 tiger 係咪
？Is a dog. Dog is the should. Dog and rabbit, dog and rabbit forms a combining relationship. Whereas, if you mentioned the horse, is it?
No.
Anyway, even if for your wife birth chart, right, if hers is a chart that is having a lot of earth and fire, it is also a positive indication of a more positive marriage.
Earth or fire?
Yeah, if your wife's birth chart has the elements such as fire or earth, it will also help to enhance your day master strength. All right. I mean, this is just for you to just八字 theory that I mean I will just reveal to you. But ultimately, 八字is a different system from 紫微斗數. So I will encourage you, perhaps you learn 紫微斗數 the foundation first, because if you also study 八字 together, you'll be quite confused. But of course, one day, if you have the time, you can also explore 八字. It will give you another interpretation. Which... Oh, okay.
I never had any guidance.
Oh, all right. Yes, 八字 is another knowledge that is with guidance you'll be able to pick up quickly. Whereas without guidance, right, you'll be confused because they are also very there are many subcomponents within 八字. For example, 神煞，有啲人睇神煞，有啲人就係睇生肖。All these are not really useful. For example, the 12 animal zodiacs, the symbolic factors which are called 神煞, they are all not quite useful, honestly. They will only play the role of about 5 to 10% in terms of influence. So in terms of 八字, it is also very important and helpful if you have guidance. Then you'll be able to know what is important and what is not important in the interpretation of the birth chart. And that will help you to pick up the analytical skill much faster in terms of 八字 reading. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that you don't have just the 八字，你話係八字兼加風水嘅，係咪你嗰個
？Yes, I can. Because for 風水, I will first need to build up your foundation knowledge in 八字. Because 風水base a lot of their theories on 八字 reading. So if you go for the course of the 風水, I will also teach you 八字 reading. So, but of course, all this learning will take time. I will go through with you step by step, and also answer your questions. But to be honest, to master all these skills, it will take time. And but of course, you can also ask me anytime you have any questions. You are welcome to ask me. Yeah.
Okay. 咁你下個禮拜個課程有咩？
Or perhaps I can send you another chart to interpret, because the practice of because ultimately the practice of analyzing a birth chart is the only way that will help you to improve. So I will give you another birth chart to analyze. Then you will tell me what you can see from the birth chart. Will that be good?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. All right. So I will send you subsequently after deciding which is a good one for you to analyze. All right.
Okay. But
Okay.
not like that. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. All right. Okay. Sure. All right. So you have any other questions?
咁 OK，好似花落係咪一般係任何星都係好嘅？
I will say it will still depends on the entire birth chart because as I mentioned, right, there are external domains and internal domains. If your Falok or the wealth catalyst star is falling into your friend's domain, then the money will not go to you, it will go to your friends. So is it positive or negative? That is really just it depends on a person's subjective point of view, all right? But to me, I would think it's not so positive. Sorry?
好似呢個 Steve Jobs 咁，
Yeah.
天良係化權。
Yeah.
And it's external.
Yeah.
咁即係會化到佢個 Student 唔係佢啊。
Means right.
係咪可唔可以咁講？
It means right. He may be someone who can help his friends to earn money. For example, people who invested in Apple. Right. All these people are considered or under the category of the friends domain. Right. You know, throughout Steve Jobs' career, when he set up Apple, he was able to make a lot of money for the shareholders. But ultimately, he was also fired from his own company. So is it a negative or positive thing? Ultimately, positive or negative is a kind of subjective point of view, but that is what the 紫微斗數 chart is able to tell us. For example, people who invested in the Apple company, they are all so-called under the category of friends domain. They are able to earn a lot of money from Steve Jobs' effort. Okay? So is this a good or bad thing? It's really up to someone's subjective point of view. All right, but that is a phenomena that's reflected within the chart. And just to also touch on the health domain. Health domain, right? If having Falok may not actually be a very positive thing. It may actually means that the person is very like to enjoy life too much. Or it may also means, right, that person may have tumor, having additional growth within his body. So it may not be a positive thing. But of course, have to depends on what other stars are present within the health domain. Okay. All right. So ultimately, depends on a lot of factors. But most of the time, Falok is considered auspicious star, is considered a positive star. Most of the time, I would say 70% of the time, it is considered a positive star.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if you have more questions, do feel free to WhatsApp me. Then I will be able to reply you, and I will send you some new study materials also. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will talk to you in the next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So wishing you a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Okay. See you. Talk to you in the next week. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. So I just finished tuition with one of my students from Canada. Usually I will in all my lessons, right? Besides, right, providing my students with guidance, I will also provide this kind of so-called face-to-face session to explain the different concepts of 演八字、紫微斗数 or 风水 to my students. So if you are interested to study 八字、紫微斗数 or 风水, all right, 紫微斗数 or 风水, do feel free to message me. All right, I will be able to guide you along and make sure that you understand the different concepts in 八字、紫微斗数 in a holistic manner. Because self-study, I'm not saying that self-study is no good. Self-study may not be able to pinpoint to you what aspects or what components within these astrological systems of analysis is more important than the rest. When you're able to focus on the concepts that are more important and more useful, you'll be able to pick up this skill of interpreting a birth chart quicker and in a more constructive manner. All right. So the course is still open for registration. Whether you are, regardless which part of the world you are from, I will be able to teach you. Right. But most importantly, you must cultivate a positive attitude towards learning. For example, having patience, always having a mind of keeping a mind of curiosity and determination to learn. A lot of students they try to learn, but their passion lasts only 3 minutes. 3分鐘熱度啊 ，OK， 3分鐘熱度。In terms of 紫微斗数 learning, 八字 learning, or 风水 learning, is always a lifelong learning. Therefore, patience is always very important if you really want to master this kind of skills well. So this is one of the things that you really need to consider. All right, having a lot of patience to learn, having a lot of determination and persistence. All right, is very important in terms of learning of 八字、紫微斗数 and 风水. Right, thank you all for watching if you're here, and feel free to like and share my video. So also wishing you all a good weekend, and thank you once again, and see you all in the next live video. Bye bye.